She comes across like diamonds, diamonds, easy in love when the lights are low. She comes into focus, focus, the closer she gets, the more I know. She takes more whiskey than my wine,
This evening, I have in front of me the one whiskey that I paid the most for ever. It is the Canadian Club Chronicles 41, issue number 1. This came out towards the end of 2018. I managed to get this at the Victoria Whisky Festival, January of 2019. There is currently a second issue, a Chronicles 42-year-old, which cost about $20 more. And it's available at stores right now. I just don't have the money because I spent a lot at the Premium Spirits release. And I'm sure that there will still be bottles of this kicking around. In fact, there are still bottles of this one kicking around from last year in the store as I speak right now. In fact, I was at a store earlier tonight and I saw them there on the shelf. This has been in my possession since January. And it cost me that's not it. There it is. It cost me $310 even. That's the Canadian Club 41-year-old. Now I'm going to taste it tonight. I'm going to pull this out. It's got a card with stuff on it. I'll read that later. It's got the baggie in the box. And we open up the baggie here. We have to undo the knot. Bring out the bottle. It's a square bottle, just like that. Beauty, eh? Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open this. Oh, what is this? This is some kind of a fancy band that's on here. I don't know. Oh, is it some kind of a seal? Let's see now. Does this come off? Oh yeah, it does kind of. Oh, it's one of these. Nice. Nice. That's what. It's a band of some kind. I'm gonna. Oh, nice. Real cork. Real cork. There we are. Now I'm gonna pour me a dram. There, that's one dram. And I'm gonna let that sit right there for maybe an hour. And I'll come back after I have something else first. But first, let me, I don't know exactly how this is supposed to go. I tasted this last year at the Whisky Festival. I just haven't had a whole bottle yet. Now I have a whole bottle. Get this tricky thing back in. No wonder it cost $300. It's got all this fancy shit on it. Okay. Now we'll put that back in the bag. I know, there's a lot of ceremony going on here. Okay, so now the time is now 10:36. I will come back to this I will come back to this. But before I come back to this, I'm going to try something else. Might as well try something else while I'm here. This here is West Cork. I believe I picked this up. Okay, I'm back. The time is now 11:32. So 56 minutes after I poured this glass of 41-year-old Canadian Club Chronicles. It should have had enough time to open up in the glass while I waited for it. Let's coat the glass somewhat. Let's have a look at the ooh, look at that can going on. That's got some interesting legs. And look at the droplets forming on the top of the ridge there. Big drops, and they move slowly. Not bad for something only 45% alcohol by volume. Let's give it a sniff. It's a corn whiskey after all. But I understand it's had some sherry added to it. Or has it had red wine added to it? I'm going to have to read the label. I definitely get the corn. I get a little bit of even corn husk. And don't forget that this has been in ex-rye barrels for like 41 years. Yeah, I get the corn. I get the little bit of sourness on the nose that comes from the rye barrels. 41 years. But then it's had something else added to it. I forget what it was. Was it a wine or a sherry? Let's see what it says on the box. Distilled and bottled in Canada, Canadian Club Whisky Company, Walkerville, Ontario. And here, Canadian Club Chronicles, Water of Windsor, it says on the side here, if you can read that. And over here, Original Club Whisky, Canadian Club, aged 41 years. Issue number 1, 45% alcohol by volume, 750 milliliters. I'm going to need the magnifying glass to read what it says on here. It says, Issue number 1, Water of Windsor. Following the unprecedented release of Canadian Club 40-year-old in 2017, comes a new series, Canadian Club Chronicles, which highlights the rich history of the brand. This first issue is the whiskey that was batched and barreled in 1977, and it pays tribute to the birthplace of Canadian Club in Windsor, Canada, the city and the river featured so prominently in our history that CC is often referred to even today as the Water of Windsor, a fitting beginning to this new chapter in our story. Okay. Then it's got some nosing notes and tasting notes, which I'm going to completely ignore. Okay. Along with the corn and sweetness, there's some toffee and caramel. It's like a I still get a lot of that corn husk. Grassy notes. I go deeper, I get more toffee and caramel. But there's still corn husk, and there's still grassy notes. Like fresh cut hay, or hay bales, you know. It is, after all, a corn whiskey, but what did they add to it? I know they added something to it, but it's not being transparent on the box. I'd have to go to their website and start snooping around there, but that's not really my goal. It's nice on the nose, but a lot of corn husks and hay. And underneath that is where you'll find some caramel lingering. I don't know, have I done this justice? Let's give it a taste now. Mmm. 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 This is as good as I remember it from last year. There's a complexity here. Very mouth-watering. Oh. There's more coming in. I'm getting some fudge. Now, after I've tasted it, I'm getting more fudge and caramel, toffee. And then there's the corn again, the corn husks. It's a corn whiskey after all. Again, the taste. Mmm. Mmm. There's chocolate fudge. There's oak. It is very mouth-watering. Oak, acorns. Surprisingly enough, the wood is not overpowering. The wood is there. It's getting better on the nose as I go. Now, there's some fudge and toffee and caramel. And still there's that corn husk. There's still that hay. It's not unpleasant. Mm. acorns, oak, caramel, toffee, fudge, and corn husks. There's a bit of a alcohol tingle also on the sides of the tongue. One more try. Oh, this gets better with every sip. It's very nice. But, 2 weeks ago, I tried the Weiser's 35, which was bottled at 50% alcohol by volume, rather than the 45 that this is bottled at. And this is very good. This is excellent stuff. Now on the finish, I get more oak and a little bit of that sour note from the rye that was originally in the oak back in the 60s. A little bit of water, 2 or 3 standard drops. See what that does. So far, I'm getting more of the corn husk. On the nose, anyway. I'm not getting so much of that acorn woodiness, but there's still the woodiness is lingering on my palate while I'm nosing this. So maybe the woodiness that's on the palate, the oak on the palate is affecting my nose. Okay, there's the corn husk. Getting a bit of the wood on the nose. I think the water brings the wood out. It also makes for some fantastic legs. There's a lot going on there. Very interesting. On the palate too, it brings out the wood. It brings out the oak. I'm getting a lot more oak on the palate now that I added water to it. If you like a lot of oak, add water. If you'd like more caramel and toffee and fudge, I would suggest not adding water because this just brings the oak out. On the nose, I'm still getting corn husks. A lot more than I was before. That is before I added the water. And much more oak on the palate. Yeah, I would prefer not adding water to this. This is great without water. And letting it sit for a while obviously helps. Because when I first nosed it, I didn't get much at all. But then I let it open up for almost an hour. And it took its time to open up, but it did open up. But this was still a neck pour. And I've added a couple little drams into my Canadian Infinity bottles. And let's see how this one develops. Let's see how it evolves after it's been open for a while. It might get a lot better. Well, cheers.
Foodquig.
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 Yeah.